Was poppin', was poppin', was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And on this episode, we're talking about, is AI taking over the coaching realm? FTC sends a warning about AI. We have a new creator of the week. We finally are talking about one of the most requested topics in our DMs, how to raise prices and when to do it. And then for this or that, we're talking about, are we supposed to actually monetize our passion? Moose, how are we feeling about this episode?
Well balanced, man. You see, like we're going high level. We're going the fundamentals. We'll go into a very interesting topic about monetizing passions. Yeah, stay tuned.
Let's get into this intro.
Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And of course, this episode is powered by ECAMM Live, the #1 all-in-one streaming platform that allows you to do everything that Nicky and Moose is doing. When I say stream on all platforms, you're talking about Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. It allows you to stream to all these different platforms at the same time, as well as do pre-recorded videos, video isolation, audio isolations, transitions, text, everything that you're going to need to have a successful show, to have a successful course, on and on. So what I need you to do to get this 14-day trial is go to www.nickyandmoose.com/ECAMM. That's ECAMM for your 14-day trial on us.
Hey, that was smooth.
Yeah, man.
That was smooth.
I practiced this about, over 20, 30 times. I'm going to get it right one day. I'm going to get it right. Moose, how we feeling?
Man, feeling pretty good. Just been ultra productive. I did a lot of work today, actually, considering a Saturday. Typically Saturdays, I try and kill it with like no meetings or anything. But I had 2 meetings in the morning. I did about 2.5 hours of content. We're redoing the portal for the community and kind of relaunching things on that front. So did about 2.5 hours. Podcast prep. Chilling, man. I'm feeling great overall. But yeah, things are good. Excited for the podcast.
You're probably hearing this on a Tuesday, but we record on a Saturday. So if you got confused for 3 seconds, that's all because we record on a Saturday.
That's a fact. I was just so in the moment, like, yo, yeah, nah.
Yeah,
right
this
here,
is
what's
all the
up?
stuff I did. This is great.
So in the moment. I totally forgot.
It's all good. I love it. I'm still trying to get back into my routine. I hate traveling because it takes like a day or 3 to get back in your routine. And I'm not a fan of that. Like, if anybody knows a quicker way to get back into the routine, let me know. And it's always the one that you don't want to do, AKA working out. Okay? I was good. I was great. I was doing every single day. Then I traveled. And then it was more on we got to get back to the morning prayer. And then we got to get working out. No, we can work out tomorrow. But we go back to meditation. Then next day, we do all that. Plus we get back into reading. We'll do the workout the next day. It's too much. I'm not a fan of this. I don't like it. But getting back into the routine is trash. So if anybody knows how to get back into routine in a quicker way, please let me know. I think I'm back on my routine, but then I'm traveling again in the middle of the week. So here we go, man. And then in the following week I travel, and the following week it's just a lot. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's no joke. Yeah, I know presidents have a hack to it. Like they do a whole thing to It's more so to fight jet lag. So I don't know if, that counts as the same, but I know presidents have like a very strict or sophisticated way of making sure that they offset the jet lag because, they're always flying all over the place, which I feel is the same thing. I mean, for me, I've always said it. Until I can find a way to take my shower and my bed on the road with me, it's gonna be a struggle. It's those two things, literally. Just give me my bed, give me my shower, and we straight. Take me anywhere. Like it's all good, but I just need the bed and the shower. They do something to me. I don't know, Nick's like it just. I don't know.
Some beds are a little bit better than not
really?
All the time
on the road. Yeah, I can see
there's
that.
some beds. I don't know. I'm not trying to promote any hotel or whatever, but there's some beds because I don't do Airbnb. That are just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I didn't know, and I didn't even know I needed all these pillows. But for some reason now I have a pillow for my arms and for each leg, and like this is and now I'm floating on. It's the most amazing thing. So
Carl told me a horror story about sheets at hotels. And ever since then, there's not one time I've been at a hotel. It could be the nice, like when I went to Vegas, the hotel was dope. Not gonna lie. Nice view, awesome room, the bathroom, super dope.
Right.
But then I went to go to like just lay on the bed, and then sure enough, that same old story that Carl told me about the sheets, it just started playing in my head again. I was like, dang it. Put my prayer mat on the bed. Like, I was like, let me just kind of lay on this instead of the sheets. So I don't know. I got to figure something out, but that's at least what I know. Yeah.
Okay. No, not bad, but not so great hotels. You may have to worry about that. I don't know about other hotels, but hey, who am I? That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But before we get into the episode, don't forget that we have Creator Ave, okay? Creator Ave is a new audio experience that we do every Friday at 6 a.m. that is the intersection between branding and business, and it's just me and Moose really getting into the weeds of what it takes to build a brand and a business, everything from content strategy to team communication to active and passive situation. It's a vibe. Okay, so definitely go check out Creator Ave Fridays at 6 a.m. on all your favorite podcast players. I wanted to make sure I said that before anything. Okay. Before we go, I'm stalling this episode. I know people. I know I'm stalling. How are you mentally feeling? How are you mentally feeling?
I'm feeling really good mentally, honestly. I think people are starting to think almost that I'm crazy because I'm really just not fazed by nearly half of the things that would have impacted me in the past. And I'm also entering an incredibly big chapter in my life. And I think people are just so surprised that I'm not moved or shaken by it. And I just try to explain to them, like, I literally feel as though I have been getting prepared for this season my whole life. And now the season is here. So you're not like panicking, like, oh my God. It's just like, I've been getting ready for this for legit 32 years. There's no surprise. So I'm chilling. Even my mom, and I know it's crazy because my mom, who's the most supportive person on the planet, at least when it comes to me, she's like, yeah, you're a little crazy. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So I'm definitely entering that mode. But I'm just I'm grateful, man. I think the healed version of ourselves is the thing that we all need. So that's I'm grateful to have done this work 6 months ago, because now I'm kind of going into this space where I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, stay present, do what you got to do, and let's just handle it day by day. So thank you for asking. How are you, though?
I'm Gucci. My mental is great. Told you, that meditation thing always gets me great. Okay, now let's get into this episode. And of course, we're going with What's Poppin', and What's Poppin' is sponsored by Deeper Than the Brand. This segment is sponsored by them, and it's the #1 content branding community that shows you how to confidently and authentically build a brand, grow a social media presence, and build digital wealth. Go to deeperthanthebrand.com. You see him rocking the gear, but that's, neither here nor there. So let's talk about this. All right. Have you ever wanted a YouTube coach, right? Like your own personal YouTube coach. However, what if I told you it was AI, right? Now, in this past week, OpenAI actually released ChatGPT's API. And that sounds like super over your head, but watch what I mean by this. This means that other software companies, businesses can now integrate ChatGPT into their business. And so there's this one company called VidIQ, which we use, that not only helps you rank on YouTube with get more views, rank up top 5 videos and everything, but now they integrated ChatGPT to be able to be your AI YouTube coach. So what do you do with this? Now, everything from fixing titles to getting scripts for your videos, fixing your video descriptions, content ideas, you could do this just by a chatbot-like situation, just like ChatGPT. But they already have certain things that are programmed for you. So if you're saying, yo, can you fix this YouTube title, and you just copy and paste your old one into the chat, it's going to come up with a new title for you, new script for you, new content ideas, which is genius, because what's happening is that instead of just getting overwhelmed using ChatGPT, now businesses are saying, hey, let me niche it down and use certain keywords or questions that we would ask, and let's put it in our own format. So that's exactly what it is. It's ChatGPT, but inside of VidIQ, which will allow you to ask everything YouTube-wise. So shout out to VidIQ. If you want to sign up for VidIQ and get your own AI YouTube coach, get keywords, daily ideas, titles, the whole 9, we're putting the link in the description, of course. It's going to be in the show notes. But this is just something that will now open up business owners' minds of how do we start integrating AI into our businesses that are specifically niched down to what we do. So this is what I'll say is on my side of what's popping.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. You talk about one of the most difficult things to do, especially which I would consider growing your brand through YouTube. That tends to be the most sophisticated platform out of the others. And so to get some AI help in that space, super credible or super dope. So on the business side, man, really interesting, right? The FTC issues a warning about the use of AI for marketers, especially within the business field. So for those who don't know, the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission, and their role in the economy is to really help run analysis that provide consumer protection, right? So they're constantly looking at how does the government's involvement in business, how does that affect business and consumers? And of course, they're also looking at common business practices so that they can do their best to protect the consumers. Now, over the past several months, especially since the launch of ChatGPT, and we've talked about it on the podcast several times, just in their crazy rank and growth in such a short period of time, but the hype of AI has not slowed down. As we all know, Microsoft got behind them with a $10 billion investment, but then Snap has also been a recent partner of theirs. Bain & Company has also been a recent partner of theirs. And so 2 big players have entered the chat. See what I did there? 2 big players have entered the chat.
I see what you did there. I
like that, right? So since then, another company has come out the woodworks. It's creating an AI workflow product called Typeface, and they just announced a $65 million funding round. And so growth is coming out the wazoo. So with the AI hype just continuing to rise, the FTC said, okay, hold on a second. we gonna need to lay some boundaries because this thing can get really ugly very quickly. And so they specifically targeted businesses and specifically those who are marketers around how to use AI in your marketing. So listen up for this. They issued 4 main things, right? They said, number 1, do not exaggerate the AI performance capabilities. Right? Don't go out there and saying that AI is going to make you 100 times more productive than you could if you worked by yourself. It's like if you don't have proven fact to come and say that this is what's happening, you can't just exaggerate the performance of AI to get users to buy into your product or service, right? Number 2 is to not promise that AI is more effective than non-AI products without concrete proof, right? Ultimately the same thing, but saying, hey, you can't just shoot a competitor down simply because they don't have an AI technology, unless you have proof, of course. So you want to be mindful of that. The second thing is to be accepting of risk and repercussions, especially the fact that AI over time may create biased results. So it's like, hey, be mindful as you're talking about the benefits of AI. Also talk about how, if used improperly, it can create some risk. There are some risks associated with it as well. And then lastly, to ensure that the product itself relies on AI in a demonstrable fashion, right? So like they're really setting these groundworks, which I find interesting because when the FTC, something that high in government, is now starting to get involved and saying, hey, let's create some balance, almost like checks and balances for the business world, that lets you know that AI has picked up a tremendous amount of steam in very short time periods. So for those of you who are in marketing out there and you are working on AI products or services yourself, heads up for these guidelines, because this is one of those things that you don't want to deal with. You don't want FTC knocking on your door like, hey, did you know that you violate? No. I am staying clear of that. So very interesting. Just wanted to share that from a business standpoint.
Fire. Appreciate you, Moose. Now, it is time to announce the creator of the week. Moose, who is the creator of the week?
Man, this is a funny story. When this person first came on the scene, Nicky and I were talking about him, and I was like, man, I can listen, but only for so long, because I can sometimes zone out. They tend to use this phrase over and over, which is you understand me? You understand me? You understand me? And you probably know who I'm talking about, man. Creator of the week is none other than 19 Keys. But to be honest with you, the man has done incredible work, and he's been on a heck of a run. I mean, it seems like he's everywhere, literally, from fashion shows to TV premieres to just everywhere. But ever since his collaboration with EYL and their network and the launch of High Level Conversations, they've done incredible numbers. So he shared this earlier in the week. He said that since the launch of the show, they've gotten 22 million views, 500 million impressions, and 12 million watch hours. I feel like that deserves some air horns, Nix.
Oh, listen.
Sheesh.
You got it.
Man, so from the likes of Dame Dash and many others who've joined the conversation to really talk about knowledge of self, liberation, and doing business and even operating masculinity in a new light, I think that this was definitely worthy of a highlight. So 19 Keys, much love to all that you're doing from the Nicky and Moose Club. And if you ever want to come on the show, I mean, hey, our people know your people, and we could do a little interview real quick. So there it is, man. There you have it.
Shout out to 19 Keys. I as well love the content and all that, all of it. So let's get into the blueprint. And what we've realized when it comes to entrepreneurs, server space, businesses in general, one of the biggest pain points is prices, right? when to raise your prices, how to raise your prices. Is it too soon? What's happening? And in this day and age where there is inflation, even some of the big dogs, I mean, like CEOs like Chipotle, AutoZone, Kroger, these types of players are talking about how easy for them right now it is to raise their prices.
We view a little bit of inflation as always good in our business. We would expect to be able to pass that through.
And as I've said before, inflation has been a little bit of our friend in terms of what we see as retail pricing.
We want to make sure that we're not leaving any pricing on the table. We'll take as much pricing as the consumer can absorb.
And we know if we need to take more pricing, we have room to do it. To date, we've seen no resistance from our customers.
I'm really pleased our sales teams have gotten much better at pricing than ever in the history of the company. We're not going to be giving this pricing back. Now it's not a matter of can we take a price increase? Now it's about how much of a price increase are you going to take?
So with that, those are the big dogs. But when we talk about some of the personal brands, some of the service providers, is it that easy? And what we've come across is not necessarily that easy. There's some fears to it. There's some confusion. There's some bad practices, some good practices. So we've collected a few clips as far as what's good, what's bad, but really the how from a new standpoint, from a new client, customer, and an existing one. So let's look or listen to this first part.
This $50,000 AP is not better than my Apple Watch. In fact, my Apple Watch is significantly better in many regards. The truth is, price is just what somebody is willing to pay for something. Price is an illusion, it's not real. I work with a lot of clients who are afraid to charge high prices for their product or service. Here's how you get over that. The first thing I do is I just tell them to add more to their product or service. Make it more valuable. An example would be for online training is that you're gonna have more check-in calls, or you're gonna check in with them every day to make sure that they actually follow their diet or they follow the workout plan. Basically, I want them to feel like they're over delivering even at that higher price. This way they won't feel so bad about charging more and they'll feel like they should charge that amount.
So that's one point, right? That's adding value. But what if you don't necessarily add value? How else can you raise the price? And we got one from Chris Doe.
If you're closing more than 60, 70%, it's because your ask is too small.
Okay.
I mean, if every client walks in the door, keeps saying yes, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror like, I'm not asking for enough, or I'm giving away too much. Either way, you need to charge more. Shorthand, if you get 3 yeses, charge more. You raise your price, now you get too many no's. What should you do? Lower your price. Find that stasis between supply and demand. Pretty logical. You guys agree?
Now, that was from a new client and customer standpoint. Now, Moose, which way do you go? Do you go with the add value and it kind of makes sense to increase the price? Or are you the type that is 3 and then raise it, and then 3 more and raise it, 3 more, and then hold on, let me balance it out and raise it again?
Yeah. I've done both. Right now, I'm on Chris Doe's model, but I've done both. In the beginning of my career, I think with every entrepreneur, there is, especially with service-based or being in a service-based industry, there's a little bit of insecurity or lack of confidence around how much you should price your service to position yourself in the marketplace. And so in the beginning, I definitely struggled with that. It was a hurdle just to get to the point to say a price, to say that there's a price tag involved with my ability to speak, communicate, with train, whatever. And so you start super low and then little by little you start increasing or whatever. And there was a tremendous build up there. But I'll never forget a conversation I had with Anthony Flynn, actually, in Vegas. Believe it or not, it was my first time in Vegas. And we sat down and he challenged me to this big project, right? He said, regardless of what you think your price should be, I want you to take on a challenge where you build a $50,000 proposal. And shout out to my extreme execution coaches, because you know I've taken you through this challenge multiple times. And someone actually got a $250,000 sponsorship recently just off of that challenge. They were like, oh, that challenge helped me get that. I was like, that's crazy. It was literally something that was done to help us overcome the fear of pricing in general. But long story short, his biggest thing was continue to add value to your services until you get comfortable with the price that you're asking for. And so if you're uncomfortable with what you want to ask for, just start there. Call a price and then add value where there's a 10-to-1 ratio. There's a 10-to-1 ratio between the value that you're providing and the price that you're asking for. So at that point, you should feel a little bit better about it. But to answer your question, right now, I'm at a point in my career where I'm certainly gauging the brand credibility, my association in the marketplace, and I am always mindful of how quickly I get yeses. Those like snap of a yes. I'm like, okay, that's an indicator that next time I need to revisit how I'm positioning myself, because clearly something is increasing, right? Either it's from a brand standpoint, the perception, because I think to a large extent, that's what the brand pricing is. It's more of a perception, like, wow, I associate this level of value with this particular brand just because of how it makes me feel, the status, the experience. And I'm not downgrading quality, because some brands absolutely provide quality, but I'm just saying that's one side of it. And so it lets me know that there's something I need to reevaluate and probably boost the prices a little bit. It just happened actually on Friday, so it's coming. It's coming.
Is there like an itch or something that's like, hold on, I think it's time to raise my prices? Like, what is an indication? I know with Chris Do is more of the three yeses, then okay, maybe it's time, right? But if we go with the value one, which is one of the ones that I favor, but even just in general, like you're doing something, maybe you're not even getting that many clients to say, the three yeses.
Yes.
But is there a feeling for you that comes in like, okay, now it's time?
No, to be honest with you, no. I think that increase doesn't always have to happen in the price category.
Okay.
Increase can happen in a new layer of your business as well. You can almost create a new tier or a new level that still satisfies the need for growth without just simply increasing the price to the marketplace. I've always said it. Look, at the end of the day, we're educators. To a large extent, we're a different maybe type of educator, but at the end of the day, we're educators. And I always have felt that education should be free. All right. I favor that concept of it. Now, yes, of course, people pay less when they don't pay, et cetera, et cetera. We know this, but for me, I would never get to a point where I want to make things unaffordable. Like, that's never a goal. I want to reach new tiers in the way I do business that maybe move away from education, and I'm doing tangible business deals that I can maybe meet some financial goals or whatever the scale interest is. But from an education standpoint or a service level, there's a cap to it that I wouldn't allow myself to get to that point. Like, oh, I just want to raise my price just to say I raised it. Like, that's not how I do it. I don't think it should be done that way either.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think I really go with one, am I like expert vibes in the price that I'm in already, right? Have I surpassed that particular price? That's one of the feelings that I go through. But two, like some of the goals that I have, can it meet with the pricing that I have right now? Can I meet those goals? But also, am I devaluing myself by this price too? Sometimes when we're beginning, we set a price and then we're just thinking of, oh, let me just get in the game. Let me just get in the game. And when we are talking about raising prices and we're not truly evaluating some of the things that we have in place, have I mastered it? Have I, even the marketplace, what's the marketplace doing it? What are some of the things they have from a top tier to a average tier to a low tier? What does that kind of look like? Like, there's a lot of factors to put in place when we're raising our prices. But for me, it really goes with, where am I trying to go? Am I creating a price point for my true audience? Like, it's more, I don't want to outshoot them. I don't want to do that. I want to raise the prices, but in a fair standpoint. So for me, it's always going to be the value. Look, okay, you knew me as this price, but with this price, and I think of it from a tier standpoint, with this price, you can get maybe one or two more things. Now, when it comes to, let's say, my consulting fees, I haven't necessarily added extra value to maybe outside looking in, but the extra value in my head is my expertise is on a whole different level now. Right.
Right. The knowledge.
Like what you may have gotten for, let's say, the $100 is nothing compared to what you're going to get for the 1,500 or the 5,000 or the whatever it may be. Right. Not saying those, don't quote me, be like, Nicky, you said this. And prices went up possibly by the time you talk to me. I don't know. Right. But that's how I also look at things. Like, where was I when I came up with this price? Where am I now? And if I can really change results based out of this price increase, what's the problem? Right? What's the problem? So I can go in two ways. I could do let me add extra value, but to me, that's the extra knowledge that I've consumed, right? That's the extra knowledge that I've more on a practitioner vibe have actually done and seen it work, seen other people work it. And now here we go packaging it up and doing it in this way. Or, yeah, I said a price. You said it too quickly. Yes. Me and Moose have had these conversations where I'm like, didn't even think about it. They said yes. All right, boom. And sometimes with the way that Moose has for me, it's like, oh, we don't wait for 3. It's the next one. It's like price goes up on the next one. Let's see if there's a little bit of hesitation. If there's a little bit of hesitation, they see the value, but that's a price. They didn't expect that price, but they see the value. Mm-hmm. Okay, we could work with that, right? So I think when we're pricing our stuff, I like there's a little bit of hesitancy. I like hold on. Let me think about this. I see you. You're so worth it. That's why I love it. You're so worth it. Let me see about this. Hold on. Let me talk. Yeah. Let me talk to the significant other. Let me talk to my team. Let me talk to whoever. My business partner. Yeah. Let me talk to them. Let me get a second to pick. But I'm coming right back, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that space it means you're in a good place when you raise your prices. Yeah. I believe that. But when you get chill out. Why? For what? Or yep. Both of those places are bad. Mm-hmm. Both of those places are bad.
Yeah, you got to watch out with those for sure. You got to watch out with those. Because, at the end of the day, remember, you want people to understand how you're justifying the ask too. Mm-hmm. Right? You got to be able to justify it. And when some people, and by the way, some people may not see it, and that's okay too. Some people will be like, absolutely not. You're bugging. And I don't always take that response serious because I know that maybe you don't fully understand. And that tends to happen, by the way, from referrals. Referrals, as much as everyone raves about oh yeah, when you get a referral, it's the best business. Kind of. I like people who find out about the work themselves.
Right.
They've already convinced themselves that, there's value here. I know what you can do. and I'm coming because of that. But when you heard it through a third party, the third party is not as geeked per se as, the person who made the discovery themselves. I don't know, and maybe it's just me, but I've never had a positive like, oh my God, this was the greatest referral in the history of the world. Right. Every referral I've gotten is always like, well, and they don't see it, but I never take it personal from a referral. So for me, at least in what I do, I don't really geek up over the referral. Cause I can think back even to my early days, the referrals have always been skeptical for whatever reason. So I don't take it personal. Like if I get a no from a referral, I'm like, nope, I get it. Just recently, there was a double booking on the dates of the UOU summit that I told you about. And it was for an opportunity out in Cali. And then, they inquired about dates and availability and pricing. I was like, well, it's super recent. Like you're asking me about something 2 weeks from now. And so, of course, there's some things already on the calendar. But then they say, oh, well, we want to know pricing so we can compare it to what the other person's charging. So I'm already out the loop. Like anytime you compare me to somebody else, the other person's going to win because I'm not cheap. Like it's not going to work. But again, it's like the friend of a friend, that whatever. So yeah, those typically don't work out the greatest. So my point in all that to say is sometimes with the referrals or people who don't understand it, don't take their feedback too seriously either because they're not really in the network or in the market like that. But your people, like your audience, when they start to give you that feedback, then yeah, for sure, you gotta pay attention to that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of referrals. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a fan of it. He made that sound great. I'm not a fan of it because you almost expect the same favor as the original person that came there. So meaning the same price, because I don't know the conversation that you had, maybe the same, the same energy, the same access or whatever. And sometimes to the extent it could happen, but sometimes it's like a comparison of, well, you did this for this person, you did this for that person, you did. Chill out. It's me and you. Like so. I'm cool with referrals when it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I'm not opposed to saying no. Like not saying a good fit. And that's another thing. Like, do you have enough confidence to say this is not a good fit? Like where it starts to become when you raise your prices and here we go with a negotiating fee. Do you already have in your mind what I'm not lowering it down to, or if I'm lowering it down, period? Right? Because like how Chris said at the end of it, when you raise your prices, you're going to hear a few no's, right? I never get discouraged off of the first no or the second no. The third no, I'm like, okay, hold on, right? Hold on. You may have to reevaluate. But can you stay strong when people are saying no? Is it like my fee is my fee? Or do you go, and some people do this, depending on who it is, okay, I'm not going underneath this amount. So I'm going to shoot this price. I wouldn't say even high. I just will shoot this price that is what I determine to be my new price. But I will not go lower for this particular opportunity, this particular client, particular customer, as I'm trying to figure out a happy medium. As I'm trying to figure out, once I'm getting all these no's, what is that yes kind of like that, like I said, that hesitation, but you know what, we're going to rock out with it. So I think having that confidence to say no or negotiate for nothing lower than this is another skill that people have to get, because if you don't, you're going to get ran over all the time. Like you're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Right? But you also can't get in your feelings when they're like, nah, I'm good. That's it.
Straight up. Yeah, not all feedback is good feedback. Absolutely.
Facts. Now, we talked about the new clients, the new customers, but what about the existing clientele, the existing customers? Now, that's always tricky, I feel. I feel like you don't want to ruin that, business relationship. Is it more of like they'll understand? Is it grandfathered? Are we putting a couple of extra dollars, couple extra hundreds? How are we going about this? So we got Chris Doe and a friend talking about how to approach existing customers. So let's look into that.
So raising your prices on existing customers is just a hard sell because the client is used to getting what they're getting for that price. And when you start saying, well, my prices went up because they don't, all they hear is, what's the deal? I'm used to this. I want what I want. And every time a new client comes in, you must raise your prices. You must raise your prices, because every time you raise your price, you're going to have, I think, a value conversation. Position yourself as an expert, not as a service provider.
What's the biggest driver in price? There's two things to drive price. What is it? So when there's a lot of supply and little demand, the price is going to go down. So this is not even about magic or deception. It's just really about controlling supply and demand.
So I love that clip because, one, understanding that supply and demand situation. And sometimes 9 out of 10 times we're in markets that has high supply. High. Like there's all these other physical trainers. There's all these other consultants. There's all these other cameras. There's all the so there has to be a unique way about you that stands out, that creates the demand, right? You have to truly do something that is super unique compared to everybody else in order to be like, yo, I'm raising my prices because of this. Now, when you go more into, hey, I'm raising my prices because I got new staff, or I got a new building, or I got extra equipment and things like that. I promise you, the client doesn't care. Though they may understand it, they do not care because
Sounds like
it
a personal
doesn't.
problem to me.
Right. It doesn't change the results because you have this problem or you're trying to solve some of your overhead, some of your timing situations, right? So now we have to think about it also of, okay, but what do we do? Like, I'm increasing my pricing. I can't stay in this introductory price all the time. And so you can look at things like Netflix, right? Netflix is constantly charging us more money. So kind of let's break that down.
Netflix is raising their prices again. The basic plan is going from $8.99 to $9.99 a month. The standard plan will now run you $15.49 a month, and the premium plan $19.99 a month. These new prices apply to new members as of now and will gradually take effect for existing subscribers. Does it really even matter? Analysts say no. Netflix customers don't really seem to care if their prices increase so long as they can still watch their shows.
And that goes with the demand. Like, we're going to continue to pay the extra $1, $2, but Netflix is smart. I'm not going to charge you 5, 10, 15, 8, 20, 50 more dollars just because they believe the demand is high. They're going to gradually add it up. What was it when it was Warren Buffett talking about Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
The reason that he got super rich off of it because he added a cent or something, right? Like,
crazy.
And you don't feel it. With existing clients, you don't want to mess up the experience. You don't want them to feel the price change. You don't want them to feel the experience being a little bit different, right? So for me, I'm always thinking about what more do I add to it to justify the price increase? Or how can I just make it a little bit more that it doesn't necessarily make them think, hold on, let me get back to you on that. Right? Like, and once again, it's more on if you have a good product, service, content, whatever your thing is, it's not a matter of, because with Netflix, it has great content. It's not a matter of the price. It is a matter of how comfortable you make the customer feel. And that it's not just for you, it's with them in best in mind as well. So are with this increase of price, is my results being increased? Whether from a results of motivation, whether it's a result of revenue, whether it's a result of education, whether it's a result of relief and less anxiety, status, is my results increasing with the increase of your prices? If not, what we talking about? What we doing? I'm confused. So these are some of the things with the existing customers, existing clients, that I feel that I think the Netflix model, the Coca-Cola model, is a good avenue to kind of look at, or even going back to what Brandon Carter, the first guy, who talking about, the AP and the Apple Watch, going back to, hey, what is my value stacking looking like if I'm increasing it, right? For me, I care more about the people. So if I started you at this price, 9 out of 10 times I'm grandfathering you. Like, yo.
Facts.
But when I raise the prices, what I'm going to do is value stack the new clients. And so the other people are going to be like, hold on. Okay, I'm at this price. I'm at the grandfathered price. But I ain't getting this. Now they're like, do I save the money or do I get the experience?
Do I get some more value? Yeah.
Right. Do I get that?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're giving your clients a choice. They don't feel offended that you kept them at that price that you promised, with the same access that you promised them, or the same, level of service that you promised them. But they are clearly seeing, oh snap, hold up, like AT&T, I am Gucci on my plan forever and a day, unless they make something like you get overseas for super free and web browsing, and then we give you a new phone. You don't even have to pay for it. If all that, oh, absolutely. Increase me now. Right?
Yeah.
But if not, I'm gonna stay right here. So that's my process. That's my thought process when it comes to increasing that, because it's like, I'm not trying to offend you, because I don't know. In the way the world is, this cancel culture, this I will get on Twitter, Instagram real quick to say something. I'm trying to make sure everybody is Gucci. Like, that's all. Let's end. If we're gonna end, let's end on a Gucci note, like a cool note. I don't want no problems. We just may not be a great fit no more, but you're not gonna be like, you know what they did? They raised the price and they didn't do anything different. Absolutely.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah. Key phrase to take note of here, folks, and literally just to go in teacher mode for a second, make note of this, because this is important. So yes, sometimes it's valid to raise your price. Thanks for taking notes on that, Nix.
I got you.
Shout out to those who are watching the video on this. But the phrase is the frequency of your increase. All right, that's important, because if you fast forward, and I kind of disagree with the analysts of what they said about Netflix, by the way, because they raised the price, but then they raised the price almost like 2 or 3 times in a very short time period. And it upset a lot of customers, myself included. I canceled my Netflix subscription because I'm like, nah, hold up a second. Yeah, if you increase once, cool, got you. everyone's doing it. It's $1 here, $2 there. Like you said, it's under 10% increase. That's okay. But if you continue to increase, the frequency of increasing is happening. It's like every 3-4 months. It's like, hold on a second.
Right.
What's the logic behind increasing the price like 5 times faster than inflation? Like I get, because I'm a logic guy, so I know if you're increasing the price because of inflation, I get it. That's what the CEOs use to justify it, right? Hey, the cost of business is going up, salaries are increasing, this increase, so we have to pass the cost over. But if you're increasing far beyond that frequency, that makes me look at you like an unethical business person, right? So I don't rock with that. So for me, I'm always like, no.
First of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
No. For me, it's like, and I'll be honest with you, like if you can just be ethical in how you do business, you don't have to worry about overpricing, underpricing. Me personally, I've never had that problem. I think I told you the example of someone who we were in conversation, and this is a real life story. I kid you not. In conversation about entering a partnership, and this is a multi-million-dollar business, and this person came to me and said, "Hey, listen, I thought about what you said. I want to take you up on a partnership offer, and I want to go 60-40 in your favor." Listen to this, 60-40 in your favor. I'm like, oh, shoot, yeah, that's sweet.
Great.
Like 60,
Where do I sign?
60,
Let's talk about it.
60%. Yeah, I turned it down. I turned it down.
First of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
You know it's serious when you get Kevin Hart twice in less than a minute. Yeah, I turned it down. It's not ethical. It's like, yo, that's your business. You built this. You are an active operator of this business. I'm giving you my expertise to help better operate and scale. I'm not going to take, like, that's like me stealing from you. And I'm not putting no money down. Like, I'm not investing. I'm just coming with my talent. Like, yo, what's up? Let's build. And you're going to give me 60? I said, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. Until this day, our partnership is still intact. And there's never been a question about money, never. I'm ethical. All right. And sometimes you gotta, and that's why I always go back to, man, when you work on yourself and you get to a place where you see the world as abundance, like it's in your favor, you can do anything you want. There's no, all of this stuff is a game. Like I look at money and business, like I talk about, it's a game. It's just something to do when there's nothing to do. But the real work that we're doing on this earth is to end up in heaven. Like that's what it's about, y'all. Like I'm being honest. That's what this thing is really about. Business, all of this other stuff, that's just something you do like on the side. That's like a little side piece hobby that we do. But when that's your main goal, you do the side piece in a way that's different than everybody else. You treat the business world like, whoa, you turn down, yeah. It's not ethical. You didn't build that. You didn't put no money up into that. That's not how you do business. All right. So I've been inspired by people like Nipsey and Rick Ross. There's one clip in particular, and we talked about this probably like 3 years ago. He said, I want what's mine, not more and not less.
Right.
I want the fair amount of what's mine. So not to go off chart here, because I started talking about God in heaven, so it's about to be a different conversation. But
we can go there. We can go there.
Yeah, but that's just me, how I operate, and because what like a pet peeve of mine, and they do this because they know we can't do anything about it. I was about to like say curse and stuff, but the no the tolls, bro. Like here in New York. Yo, they've raised the tolls every year for the last 20 years religiously.
Oh, yeah.
New York, please. Whoever the governor is right now, I don't even know who you are anymore. Can we please get a handle on the toll? But that's my point, right? This is how you get people angry with the service, is because the rate of increase, the frequency of increase, it's just too much. And it upsets people. Now, of course, New York got you in a chokehold. If you can't cross a bridge to get in and out of the state or to out of work, you can't do nothing about it. You just, whatever, you pay. But I'm saying for these other services, but believe me, if that frequency of increase is happening too much, a lot of people are going to jump because it's like, yeah, no, that don't make sense.
Yeah, but that one goes, and we had a clip, maybe Isaiah, you could play it for the video side, where David Shands was talking about Shade Room.
You know how much it is to post on the Shade Room?
It's like 6,000 right now.
Is it 6 now?
I think it's 6.
Last time I checked, it was 4, and it just keeps going up. You know why it keeps going up? You know why?
No.
Because people keep paying it.
People keep paying it.
And it was like, yo, the post on the Shade Room, don't quote me, I don't know. I've never posted on the Shade Room. Is rumored to be like $4,000 per post. But it used to be $2,000. And the reason why I kept increasing is because people will pay for it. So we look at the subway and the tolls, like the demand is so like, we need this.
Yeah.
People are going to pay it. They're going to complain. Absolutely. Yo, why we raising this? Blah, blah, blah. But they're going to pay it because they need, when you are in need, you can demand whatever price and increase it at any rate that you want to. You will create some disgruntled people, but you're in need and they're going to pay for it. There's people who need the Shade Room and blogs like that because it gives them extra exposure than doing it by themselves or even doing it through ads. So if you are doing a crazy increase, or the frequency of your pricing is, the increase of your pricing is crazy, then you have to look at it like, am I a need? If I'm a need, let's get to it. If I'm not, let's do this in a strategic way so I can make sure my cash flow is on point.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to mess up my cash flow, but
that's well said.
I'm just saying. So, raise your prices, people. But we gave like 2-3 different types of blueprints. You pick how you do that. And actually comment, whether tweet us, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, however you want to go about it. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, hit us up in the comments. What is your way of increasing prices? And maybe what was a bad experience that you had from a consumer standpoint of when somebody increased? Because we can learn from when we are consumers, not necessarily when we are the providers or the brands or the businesses. We learn from other people's mistakes when we are consumers. So let us know maybe a bad experience of when somebody increased their prices on you. Okay? Now, we're running a little bit late, and I'm okay because I want to talk about this because Moose gave me this clip, and I was like, okay, we had 2 other this or that's, and it went all the way like to the left. And one of them is going to be the after show. So definitely go check out the after show on Apple Podcasts. But the question, and I'm going to let Moose set this up, but the question of, do we really monetize our passion? Like, everybody, go chase your passion, right? And there's some people that were like, make money off of your passion. In that voice, make money on your passion.
That's how I heard it.
But is that really the route to go? So, Moose set this up. Who are we talking about?
Yeah, man. So this is cool, right? This is a YouTuber who really took off in 2021. His name is Jed. Just going to abbreviate his last name to the letter C, right? And Jed was a software engineer prior to getting into content or the world of content creation, where he started his vlogs. But then he made a slightly different decision than what would most people expect, even after reaching stardom as a content creator. So here it is.
Lately, having to film not because I want to, but because I have to, because it's my job, has really turned me off to the whole doing YouTube as a job thing. The pressure of having it be your job and you don't want to film makes you hate it a whole lot more. I knew something had to change was pretty much the past 2 months, I've been spending a lot of time coding my personal project, ratemydorm.com. And it came to a point where I was really enjoying coding that project and dreading filming, to the point where YouTube became the job that I dreaded and coding was my creative outlet. And the fact that that totally switched made me realize that I need to do something different to fall back in love with making videos again.
Wow.
So Moose, are we monetizing our passion? Are we keeping our passion sacred and like close to us? I have my take, but I want to.
Yo, that's so tough because I honestly resonate with both sides of the argument. Like I resonate with, yo, monetize. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
But then I also resonate because there was a season where I was starting to feel the same exact thing. Like, I'm dreading this. I wish I didn't have to rely on this for money. Like I really was in both positions. It's safe to say that I'm back on the monetization, boy, but there was a season.
It's safe to say I'm back on the money train.
Yeah. It's safe to say I'm just get that money, player. Oh man, but yeah, wow. Nah, I feel you though. What do you got to say to that? That's interesting.
So I am really it's weird, right? So it's weird. It because there is a thing that I am very passionate about that I monetized and I dreaded it and I took it back. So what I mean by that is editing. I used to love doing that. Used to love it. Used to love telling stories. And then when it became when I monetized it and how people wanted me to do it this way, and that wasn't good. I didn't like that. I said, no, we're not editing for no more. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. I'll teach others the kind of the ways of doing that. And now I think I'm going to be more intentional from how I pick certain clips and be intentional teaching that a little bit better. Because I literally was just like, nope, not doing it. Isaiah, you got it. Go. Right? And I literally just went, yes or no. Now, another thing that I am passionate about is what I research and, tell to the people as far as content, social media, right? That has become definitely something that I love to do and that I make money from. I think for me, as long as it's not super service based, I could do it all day. Right? Now we're being intentional with packaging it and putting it out to the public with whether it's, courses, audio, whatever. But even, for example, with this podcast, right? I'm almost happy. I'm going to say this. I'm almost happy that we are not super relying from a revenue standpoint from the podcast thing, because I know there are some seasons that we went through this podcast that I was like, nope, not doing it, right? But because it's a passion type vibe, you want to do it even though you may not be in the mood for it, right?
Yeah.
You may not so I totally go with what he says as far as once it becomes like a chore, once you have to do it. And for me, I'm the routine type. I hate routine. Even though I understand the importance of it, there's certain things that, and I think it's also because I don't put so much, let's say, respect on money. You're not going to sway me to feel happy because I made this amount of money.
Right.
That doesn't do anything for me. So if you totally did this, you went all in on this, you can make all this money. But I'm making all this money over here. And I'm happy about doing this. I'm happy spending my spare time doing this. I don't know if I would be happy doing this part full time and like, then it becomes the business part. And the business part goes with the managing part, the communication part, all those parts that we've talked about on the podcast that I struggle with on the after show. Then it becomes that, and I don't want none of it.
Yeah. It feels like a job.
Right. So the content creation side of me, though I do know how to monetize it, and I monetize it very well, there's a part of me that doesn't necessarily want to go and make it the 100% all I do situation. I don't want to put all my eggs in a basket for monetization side of my passion. I want to keep my passion just something I really look forward to, something I really love to do. So I edit only for me. Like, that's it. Maybe one other person, right? And it'd be like not even on the extent of how I would normally edit. It's just like, I got you, don't worry about it, boom, boom, boom. But for me, I'm trying sound effects. I'm doing different things. I'm like, and I can do it when I want to. I don't have to do it. I have a team that edits some of the stuff that I do. I have a team. We have a team for the podcast. I don't have to. But if I want to, I can. And no one's going to say, no, don't do it. You suck. Stop it. Can't. So I love the freedom of keeping my passion. And from a strategic standpoint, with the teaching and the research part, as long as it's not something I have to show up every single day and like do it for a monetizing standpoint, I'm good. Like, I don't want to lean on it to make money. I want to do it more on a service base. I want to do it to really impact people. And if it makes money in the process, great. But I'm not intentionally making money on it, because then I may not I'm gonna find things wrong with it.
Yeah, that's how I look at my content, to be honest with you. Like, I've never worked with anyone where I told them, yeah, my goal is to do this with my content. It's like, no, my content is just me expressing my principles, my thoughts, my ideas, my methods, but I don't want to monetize that. Like, that's not what that is for. And when I tried in the past, I failed miserably. Like, I burned myself out so much that I took off for 2 years. I didn't want to even nothing. I was like, no, like I was in it. And that was that time where I was questioning it. And I realized I wasn't like, I did it wrong, or I went about it the wrong way, because that's not how I found fulfillment in it. It wasn't based on how much money I was making off of the content. It was how it was resonating with people, how many people felt moved by the message. That was more important to me. And so when it came more about the money than it was about that, I started to get a little, I guess I was fighting myself internally. So I had to rewire. But another thing I want to ask people, especially the listeners or viewers who are watching this, are you doing something because it's your passion, or are you doing something because it's popular? But I want you to think about that for a second, because for a season, especially during post-COVID era, and I really think people are going to recognize the effects of the pandemic in the years to come, and they won't know that it was initiated or rooted in the pandemic. I think everyone swept those 2 years under the rug, like, all right, good, we out of here, no more COVID, let's go. It's like, no. You're going to recognize the effects of what it was to be locked up for 2 years for the next couple of years to come, especially if you're someone who isn't paying attention or really studying how that impacted your your perspective, your behavior, and how you are as a person. And so post-pandemic, everyone was so big into this work from home era, freedom, et cetera. And so they were going into pockets of industries that gave those perks, and they saw it as a passion, but in reality, it was what's popular. It met the need to feel as though, oh, I can be in this pocket. It's the same thing with podcasting. Everyone is talking about podcasting is down. It's like, podcasting is down for people who got into podcasting because it was popular. It's like, oh, yo, podcasting booming, billions of dollars. You saw my guy's deal right here with Spotify.
You're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
It's like, come on, man. You got in because it was popular, not because it was your passion. And so again, I take you back. Do you really know who you are? When you know who you are, you don't need to be associated with things to feel a part of the crowd. Like, no, you good. You good with or without it. You're okay with it. It's like, no, I'm fine. If I do it, it's because I really want to do it. My heart is in it. I'm passionate about it. I'm not doing it because it's popular. I don't get, put in a group with the cool kids and I'm like, yes, now I'm cool. Like, no, I know I'm cool. If I do it, it's because I want to do it. I don't need to do it to be cool. So that's a question I want to leave for our listeners and viewers, man. Are you doing it because it's your passion? Or are you doing it because it's what's popular? You might take that one for final words right there.
Yeah, I was like, we can end it. Moose has been in his bag this whole podcast. A couple, I want to say 2, 3, 4 in a row. Just listen to the back ones, not the interview ones. Just when it's us, every time it's us, Moose is on fire. Just let that know. Podcast, Moose takes over the lives. I take over. It's great. It's a great balance because golly, I forgot. I think it was the last episode or where we were not the interview. Shout out to Glenn. But the one before that, where you said a final word, and I was just like, Isaiah's probably going to find the face or whatever. But I was so like, golly, can we just stay back? Can this not be the final word? Can we talk about this?
Can we talk about this?
Yeah, can we talk? You're not just going to stop it there. That's wild. Right. But yep, okay. I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna fall back, people. Make sure you check out Creator Ave. It comes out Fridays, audio only on your favorite podcast player, whether it's Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts, go check out Creator Ave. It's a whole vibe. Follow us on all social media platforms. Definitely hit us up on YouTube for the video version, right? If you're watching the video version, we love you and appreciate you. Just share this out for other people. And yeah, of course, Moose, if you have final words or just repeat what you just said.
Hey, are you doing what you're doing because it's popular or because it's really your passion? That's the question to ponder on. That's the question of the word. What is it? Final questions instead of final words. Here's the final question. There it is.